celebrities were on there, so you could talk to celebrities, and people would they can get ideas from Twitter, take it right to where they're going, different TV outlets and whatnot. So there's a rapper on there, and I was a big fan of his back in the day. And this dude I knew from the gym was like, "Yo, you gotta get Twitter. What's Twitter? Yo, he's on there. You can go talk to him." Da da da. So I looked at it and I was like, "What the hell is this?" Like I didn't understand what this was. People just screens with this at on the little at sign. I don't like. I'm not really. I was never really like an internet guy.
And we're back with another episode of Why Y'all Working. I'm one of your hosts, Alaire Jameson.
I'm Michael Ogusanya.
And we have the very special guest here with us today, Joseph Parker. He's one of the mentors that I've had from Upfront Capital back when I was doing that with Anthony. And he is a great mentor and advisor as far as music catalog goes. So welcome him to the show today. Joe, thank you for joining us.
Hey fellas, thanks for the invite. And I'm glad to, be talking today. I love talking about this stuff. So thank you.
Appreciate that. No problem. And just to get right into it, we're going to ask our first question. Why do you work and what does that mean to you?
Yeah, this was a tough one. No one's ever really asked me the why. And I guess my why is to I want to just make a healthier relationship with music and money. And you always listen to these interviews, and there's always this conversation about there's not enough financial literacy in music and sport, just all across the board. And so for me, in my small space in this thing, I want to make sure that I'm, creating like a healthy ecosystem. So.
And moving forward from that, how would you describe that healthy ecosystem or that healthy balance between music and making money? What does that look like?
For me, it's just taking enough, but not taking too much to where the person you're working with or helping is left with, the crumbs. So just being able to make sure I'm getting paid, what I need to be paid in order to do the job properly. And then I always tell people like my sales technique is education. So that also comes with me learning everything that I can about the space that I'm in, so that when I'm talking to someone who's looking to sell the catalog, looking to take an advance against the royalties, I don't have to beg. I don't have to push them to do something they don't want to do, but I'm willing to share with them things that I know that they may not, have any access to. And that's creating trust. And it's sharing, the financial things that I know that, they just, a lot of times they're not aware that they have this tool, number one, that they can use to kind of borrow against leverage. So that right there, the education is just unlocking, something else. And then from there, a lot of times people will text me, email me, DM me questions. Hey, I got this. What do you think about that? Or I also had a relationship with this guy named Kelly. He's out in Charlotte, and he's like a certified financial planner. So whenever I was closing deals, larger deals, I would want to introduce them to him, and he can carry on further with, how are you going to replace the income? What are you looking to do growth wise? Where do you want to invest your money? So like relationships and resources, like the foundation of getting that ecosystem, you know, not even rebuilt, just building something
For
better.
someone, okay, got
Yeah.
you. Okay, and I guess taking a step back from that in particular, because I know that's today, right? What was your first real step into this business, and kind of could you tell us if it was an intentional? Did you purposely find your way here at this intersection of music and money, or did you kind of stumble upon this by happenstance? What was that like for you?
So in high school, I started writing. I was a poet, so I thought once I found poetry, I'll just spend my whole life writing poems. And then I got teachers, oh, you're gonna go to college for this? No, I don't, for what? I just want to write all day. So that right there, like looking back at it, that was never going to work. I didn't have any kind of concept of making a living by writing. because I was a kid, so I'm just thinking, I love writing, I just want to write, but that wasn't going to get me anywhere. Then, kind of like a couple of kids in my school, they rapped, and I was sometimes I'd help them with ideas. I tried rapping, it didn't work. I tried to produce, didn't work, and then I'm not like a I'm not a I'm not a I'm not a front street guy. I don't want to be in the light as it's shining on me now. But like, I can't get on stage. I don't like all that. I like to be in the back. I like to come up with ideas. So that's kind of the role I was taking. Like I'd be, okay, manage these guys when they rap, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't really care about money. Money just, I had two jobs in high school because, I wanted to buy a car, I wanted to buy sneakers, but I wasn't like, there's no aspirations to like be rich. So when I get out of high school, um, I went to college for a little bit. That again, I had no ambitions to finish college, so I dropped out, and I ended up getting a job working at like a loan place, and it was horrible, horrible, horrible interest. Like, and I didn't know any better. I didn't know anything about interest. I didn't know any of this stuff. And when I found out what it was, I had to quit. I just couldn't. It wasn't right with me. And I said, you know what? I was like 20 or 21. I said, from this day forward, I'm going to learn about money. I need to understand, what this thing is. So I got a job at the bank at 21. And the first thing I did, I read this book called The Young, Broken, Fabulous by Susie Orman. And that book just opened up my eyes to everything. And I remember when I got the job at the bank, I'm arguing with my managers about like Roth IRAs and all these different things. So I'm like, I just been studying this unemployed for like the last 6 months, and I was right about, what it was. So I was like, all day long, I'm learning about all these different things. So when I get to the bank, I was like, okay, this is going to be better than me being a loan shark. um, and that's where that started. So this is like '05. And yes, and still in '05, I met this dude at the gym. He's there working out with his father, and he's like a year younger than me. And I'm just like talking to his dad, like, hey, your kid got some talent, but if he just fixes his shot a little bit, and hey, do what he says, and pa, money, you know. And that's how that started. And she's still one of my friends to this day. So he had a friend. So that was like '05, '07, '08. He had a friend that rapped. I'm in the DC area at this time. I'm living in Arlington. Um, so, he was like, "Oh yeah, man, my guy from high school, he raps, da da da. I think you'd be a good manager." I was like, "Oh, okay." I don't have any in to the music industry, so my whole thing is when I hear something, when I see something, if I get that, oh, then I gotta share the vision. Oh, hey, I heard your music, man. Let's meet up. So he was down. I'm in Arlington. He's down like in Prince William County. So it's like 30-mile drive or whatever. So I'm just going down there to meet the guy, and it was cool. And like he's really talented, and it was just like, okay, how can I get him to the next level? And he's kind of like flashy, flamboyant kind of guy. So I'm just like, okay. So it's like easy to take a look and like, okay, we can model this after like Ghostface was like a big like we call it not a mood board, but the board you put the ideas on there to get your, is it a mood board? Maybe that's what it's called. But like Ghostface is like one of the people I'm looking at, like, okay, we can
Yeah, vision board. I got you.
vision
Yeah,
board.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, yeah, we could use Ghostface as that, as the template. So just did that for a little bit with him, and then somehow I don't know how I met this, but I met this dude who played the sax. This kid was super super talented. Brilliant. I think he's like a professor now at Howard. Just really really talented guy. He produced. He played the sax. So I had the rapper, the sax player, then the girl I went to college with. We kind of caught back up, and she could sing crazy. So I had these three artists who I'm working with, and I don't have, again, there's no experience, there's no there's no one like connecting me to anybody in the music industry, but I had Twitter. And in 2009, 2010, Twitter was like, man,
Huge.
it was huge, but it was because celebrities were on there, so you could talk to celebrities, and people would like they can get ideas from Twitter, take it right to where they're going, different TV outlets and whatnot. So there's a rapper on there, and I was a big fan of his back in the day. And this dude I knew from the gym was like, "Yo, you gotta get Twitter. What's Twitter? Yo, he's on there. You can go talk to him." Da da da. So I looked at it and I was like, "What the hell is this?" Like I didn't understand what this was. People just screens with this at on the little at sign. I don't like. I'm not really. I was never really like an internet guy. I was never like super into these things. I don't know. Like I had MySpace. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't. Oh, we can make a top 8 for what? Like I don't care about that. So Twitter, I thought like, man, it's gonna be the same thing. And then I kind of just I think I had an account, canceled it, came back, and then when he said I could talk to the rapper, I said, you know what? I'm going to meet that rapper, and I'm going to work with him somehow. So I ended up meeting him because he had like he's working on an album. He has a huge internet presence. So it was like 10 people get to go to the studio in Manhattan, and they put out like questions, and I answered one of the questions. And when I met him, he's like, "Who got the question about my school or whatever?" Oh, that was me. How'd you know that? Like, he was so shocked that I knew this obscure fact about him. But like that, when I saw that happen, I said, "Oh, that's it." And back then, also on Twitter, it's the blog era. So what would happen is musicians, rappers, whoever, hey, I need beats. So I think it was Little Brother, maybe. Hey, we need beats for Little Brother. And, everybody, all the backpackers and, all those guys back in the day, they see Little Brother, they go crazy. So what happened is someone's making an album, they're going to have 12 to 15 tracks. You got producers just sending all their best work in there. I said, and you could read the messages back then. It was, it's a big deal. Oh, we can see what you're saying, see what people responded to. You can do it now, but back then it was like, this unkept secret thing. So anyway, I would go through all the links, listen to the music. Oh, okay. Yeah. And I would just go through every single producer I could find. And that's how I was finding beats for the rapper and finding, beats for the singer. And then I come across this one guy, and I was like, okay, this guy's kind of special. And then everyone I would send the rapper to, they wanted to work with him. So like that was like Twitter was kind of like, okay, I can First of all, I'm in Arlington. It's not like music capital of the world. And then in DC, Go-Go is the sound, but also Wale is kind of coming up at that time. So it's like some things are kind of bubbling. And I'm not from there, so I'm, I live here, but I'm not from here. So I'm kind of like navigating these things. So for me, it's like, damn, how can I, make these things work for me? And then, as I'm sharing the music, this one lady on there, she was a manager. She's like, hey, my guy produces. Oh, okay, cool. She sent me the guy's beats. And what I noticed was he had like 50 bullets on his resume or whatever. And I was like, yo, what the hell is this? He's not known, but he has all these accomplishments. And he was like, oh, these are my placements for music licensing. And I don't really know what that is. So I sent him my guy. He wants to work with him, of course. My guy was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know about the beat. My whole thing is when I hear somebody, there has to be something that initially makes me go, okay, I can kind of gauge what their capabilities might be. But a lot of musicians, they hear someone and go, oh, I don't make that kind of music. Well, you guys haven't spoke. You don't know what the vibes are. You don't know what else they're capable of. But me seeing all those notches on his belt, and he makes the music, he's been doing it. That was enough for me to go, you know what? He wanted to make an EP with my guy. It didn't happen. I said, I'm going to keep in contact with you because you're onto something. And this is like 2010. And then 2011, I was dating this girl, and I went to her birthday party, her brother's birthday party. One of his friends was rapping, and I heard the music, and I was like, yo, him and the guy that him and the producer that does the sync licensing, they are going to make magic together. I said, yo, can you introduce me to him? He introduced. I was like, yo, you got a great sound, blah blah blah. I connected them two, and they hit it off. Like one of the first songs they made ended up getting placed on like 30 different TV shows, and that's when I made that connection and that happened. I was like, hey, because at these times everybody wants to get on the blogs, everybody wants to get placements with these big names, and when I was able to do that, I was like, yo, nobody pointed me in the direction, nobody was teaching me, nobody was training my ear, because I wanted to be an A&R, right? I wanted to be able to get into the rooms and share my ideas, blah blah blah. And it's like I didn't know what I was looking for, right? But when I did that, it was good. So they made a lot of music together, and they were getting placements on like what Power was new at the time. They got on Power. They got on what was the other shows? I can't remember the name of the first show, but it was like the songs were just picking up, and they were doing really well. Great chemistry. So I would send him other stuff. Hey, what do you think about so and so? Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And then 2012, he's like, look, man, you've been sending me a lot of music. A lot of it I like. Why don't we just officially partner up? And so for every person that I sent him, I would get a percentage if the songs got placed. So like I went nuts. Like from like 2012 to like 2016, I sent him 500 to 700 different people to work with.
Damn.
Yeah, it was. In some weeks he'd be like, "Hey, yo, you sent me 50 this week, man." Just like, because at the time everybody's making music, everybody wants to get on, everybody. So there wouldn't be a link that will come across Twitter that I would listen to. I'm going to take a listen, and I'm not going to tell you unless there's something there. So a lot of times people just spam me, "Oh, hey, take a listen to my music." That I would have listened, but I'm not expecting anything because you're spamming it. People aren't. There's no demand for this, right? So, but when I found something on my own, I'd be like, "Hey, heard your music. You ever try to get anything synced?" Nobody knew what sync was, right? So, again, the education came through. Introduced him to my guy, and then people would make music with the hope of it getting placed in a TV show, movie. The web series were kind of big back then too, and throughout this whole process, most of the I was still trying to be an A&R. I wanted to get a job in a label. I want to work with my favorite rappers, all these different things. And then I just said, you know what? I can use sync to kind of break artists. And then I come across like Lizzo. When I first heard Lizzo, I said, "Oh, this is it. This is," because it's like kind of poppy. But like I said, "Oh, there's something here." So reached out to Lizzo, didn't get a response. 6 months later, Lizzo signs with whatever the label was, Janae Aiko. Before she signed with Def Jam, the jazz, he's the sax player. He's like, "Yo, man, send her my stuff. Sent the stuff that they liked it." And then he was like, "Yeah, I'll ask him if I could write their songs for her." And that was when the relationship got killed. Like it was like
It's like a balance.
Yeah, it was like nah. Like she writes her own stuff, and that was dead. Then Kalani was another one. It was not texting, but like hitting her up on Twitter, like talking on Twitter with Kalani, because she's kind of popular. I think she's from Oakland. People knew her in Oakland, but she wasn't who she is now. Had no idea what sync was. So her, the producer, they're into it. Then she's out of here after like damn, another one. Not SZA. Is it SZA? I don't know. Kali Uchis. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
For sure.
Like yes, I do.
One, man, I was like, yo, this is it. This one's gonna. No one's on her. Da da da. I'm going back and forth with the manager. We're getting on calls. It's really going really well. Then it kind of slows down, and then he pops up. Hey man, look. Sorry you haven't heard from me. It was Tyler Creator sent over an offer. She's gonna go. And it's like, damn, he's keep getting really close with a lot of these people. Damn, I think it was SZA. think it was SZA also, but SZA, they were like her team. They wanted to do it, and then I'm like, damn, like I just like I'm in the right space. I'm getting close to getting some back and forths, but I'm just still like a little bit too late. And like, but I knew even with me being late in some of these, I'm in the right direction. And this is kind of when then I would send some of my guy stuff and be like, he's like, yeah, it doesn't work. Oh, but the person's talented. Da, da. Yo, they're dope, but like it doesn't work for what we got to do. And like that's when my ears started to go from I like this, we need to use it to does this work? Um, so that's kind of where I was looking for like the utility in things versus because to me there's a lot of great music out there, a lot of great people making music, but doesn't mean that it's going to fill the need. And with sync licensing, a lot of that is, hey, we need a song about bubblegum sneakers and you got to talk about caterpillars. And it's like, if you don't follow these prompts, you're not going to get selected. So that's when you kind of got to be like, oh, okay, here's what we need. Follow it to a T, or you might not even hear from them if it doesn't work. But if it does work, opportunities will flow in. And that's, that really helped me a lot. Because at that time, I was at the bank from 2006 to 2016. Then, so I'm going to the bank full time and still doing the music stuff, on the side with these hopes and aspirations. So it's like I don't have that much time to do the music thing. So I have to make sure everything is like precise, on point, and what's needed. And then
Yeah, I just got to jump in real quick. Quick question. So when you said sync licensing, now I'm sure a lot of guests would love to know that. I was excited for this call because I'm not that familiar in the music business, but it sounds almost like a RFP, like a request for proposal. Needs to have this BPM, needs to talk about this, and then it's up to the artist and their team to make a song to fit that. Is it coming from these major labels? What is sync licensing?
what's your favorite TV show?
I've been watching the show Adolescence on Netflix. Just watched White Lotus. Just
Okay.
wrap that up.
So anywhere you hear music on that show, they're paying a license fee to put that on, on White Lotus or Adolescence, right? So they'll have like a drama set in this island, dramatic sounds, 88 BPMs, or I don't know all the technical stuff, but whatever it is, opening credits will be used for 35 seconds or whatever the case is. Then they give it to the people who are making the songs. So like my guy would get these prompts all the time. Hey man, I need some dramatic setting music with an island feel. And then that's what I'd be looking, I go out looking for those things. Or if we had it already, oh, hey man, I'm going to send this to so-and-so. I'm going to send it to Mike O. I think he can nail it. And then, if it gets placed into if it fits the, what they're looking for, they put it into the show, and then you get like bumps. So if you use it for 15 seconds, you get a certain amount of money. 30 seconds, higher amount. And I think a minute and 15 seconds was like the ultimate payout. Sometimes you get paid up front, and then you'd always get your royalties on the back end. So yeah, sync is just like syncing up the sound to the motion or the scene in the TV show.
That's dope. Scoring films. It makes sense that Kali Uche is like Tyler, the creative vibe. Before we get too deep into the music licensing and the business side of this, you said something that, warms my heart. You said growing up in DC in the early 2000s, Phil Ade, Charles Hamilton, Wale, Fat Trell, it was like a scene, especially, is North Carolina home for you? My question for you is, what was go-go like in the early 2000s for someone coming into the DMV scene?
So, all right. So, I was familiar with go-go because like I have cousins in Virginia. So, I hear it a little bit and they be talking about it. And I'm just like, oh, all right. For me, I like culture. So it was like, damn, I don't know what this shit is. Like, what's going on here? And then, but I was drawn to it because it's like, oh, this is the culture. And I love going somewhere where and to me, DC had like, is very prevalent. Like the culture was in your face. And I was like, I loved it. Right. I didn't like all the music I heard, but I loved that this was theirs. And there was one band. Oh, I fell in love with. I can't remember the name of the
TCB
band.
Reaction.
I can't
You're
remember.
not talking about Backyard Band.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like one of the big ones. It was just like people knew who they were, and I
Yep,
heard it.
yep.
I was like, "Yo, this is crazy." And I really love things where I don't think I could make an impact. If it's something that's happening, and I go, oh, you know what, I think I could. I couldn't do it with that. That's something I just had to absorb and just be around. So I appreciate it. Like I love, oh, man, I used to love like people talking about them. Oh, my cousin's in the band. Da, da, da. Oh yeah, and then making music like out of anything like that to me. Like you go to the was it Chinatown? I think I had to go to Chinatown one
Yep,
time.
Galleria.
Always this kid out there on the bucket is making me like, yo, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Yeah.
That's dope, man. Yeah, I grew up in PG County. Like went to the Go Go's. It was a certain energy. Rest in peace to Chuck Brown.
Yeah.
Like that whole era was one of one, man. And did you get a chance? Let's talk a little bit more about the backpack rap scene because that was big. Having a big brother, you put me onto a lot. Like, what was that backpack scene like in the DMV that time? Because Wale was leading it, you know.
Uh, Now that it was like for me, it was a little bit different because, um, like so you mentioned Phil. No, yeah, Phil Day. There's also this dude named Seth Day, and he looked just like Omar Epps. So that's what people know him. But he made music with my guy, the sax player. His name was Johnny Graham. He's the one that played the sax, and they went to University of Maryland. Um, so for me, I wasn't. No, there was a couple guys. Like this other dude named Nate Graysky or something like that. I wasn't immersed into that in DC. Like when I got into like Little Brother, I don't know what magazine it was, but I was reading one of these music magazines, and I seen them in the magazine. And I was like, I'm just gonna order it, and I ordered it, and I was like, oh, is the listening by Little Brother? And I was like, yo, it blew my mind. Like, whoa, this is crazy. I used to be that, yo, real hip hop. I was that
The
guy for a
mystical.
long time. And then I don't know why, but like I kind of got out of that, and I'm glad I did because it was really, really kind of confined my taste. And if I liked something that wasn't underground or whatever, I'd be like, kind of feel funny about it. Um, but yeah, like, so a lot of people I met on Twitter were also Maryland, DC area. So I would meet like Ike the Kid. I don't know if you know what that is, but he was like, I think Ike's like Nigerian dude. It was nice. I was like, yo, this kid's nice. So I was kind of like picking and choosing who I'm going to meet, not instead of me being, I don't like going out and all that. So I wasn't going out to all these places. So that wasn't a thing for me. It's like, okay, I'm on the internet. Oh, okay. Oh, you from Maryland? Cool. And my spot used to be the Barnes and Noble on East Street. So right in the corner of East Street, that's where I had my meetings at. So I met a lot of rappers in that bookstore, and then after the bookstore, there's East Street Cinema. Walk right down there. Uh, Third movie, whatever the movie was, just hop in there. Oh, I should love. I missed it sometimes, but yeah, that's my thing, man. Just meeting them on Twitter, discussing things. Somebody put me on. Oh, who's this singing? Give me an introduction, and then try to meet them in person because I like to if you know Raheem Devon, remember
Yep.
him?
Yeah, yeah. Poison.
Yeah. So I
Oh no,
met.
that's Del Devoe. My fault.
Yeah, he's yeah. So there was he had a record label. I forgot what it's called, but he had the A&R for the record label, and I was like, oh yo, I want to be an A&R. Oh yeah, yeah. So he invites me to one of Raheem's video shoots, and it was like 8 hours, and I was like, yo, I can't do this. I'm not built for that. Cause I just wanted to meet Raheem and send him music and all these kind of things. I'm just like, yo, who I got to get to? Let me do my thing and get out. All the other stuff, I just wasn't a fan of it. But there was a lot of super talents back in the day. A lot of the women too, man. Um, Tease Fever, Ryder MC, a lot of women in the DC area back in the day who were really really nice when it came to making music.
Yeah, and real quick, Joe, I did want to touch on something for our audience, which I think that like is very prevalent if you pay attention to what you're saying and how you're saying it, right? Which is your pathway and how you went about getting access to the community that you did not have access to originally, right? Like I think that through your medium of choice, whether you wanted it to be or not, was Twitter. And it was your access point at the time because of the greatness that Twitter was between '09 and like 2012, like when everybody was on there and everybody wasn't too big that you couldn't talk to them, but like everybody was just right there in that niche where you could be like, okay, I could reach out, say something, and then they'll eventually see it maybe 2 days, three, couple weeks later. And that kind of helped you get your start, right? Like I think that, a lot of people who may be in these same similar situations where today in our very much social media oriented world where, people may be at your fingertips, but people aren't able to like look and stay because the attention span is no longer there. I think that you were at a perfect time where the attention span was perfect for what you needed it to be,
Hmm.
for people to be, on these apps, whether it be between MySpace and then the transition to Facebook and then, Twitter and the competition between both because again, it's the accessibility to the folks that you need and the audience that you had, wanted to build for yourself in order to, I guess, be where you are today, where you're, shopping these catalogs around and being able to talk to the big wigs of the world because now you understand both, I guess, from your experience being in the banking system to also working with musicians and understanding that fine balance of education between there. And then I did want to hit the fact that you did say education was your tool of sales. And I think that that's very important to kind of touch on. And I kind of wanted to get your perspective on why you think that is. And how has that, amplified the work that you've been able to do, and the impact that you've been able to have for your audience?
Yeah, yeah. So even with Twitter, right? It was me. Like I said, I got like I was known as like an idea person. So I don't really, I would just share things on Twitter. And like back then, I was reading a lot of books, just reading. So I might read something and just tweet a quote, tweet an idea, and it would stick out because someone would see it, someone like more followers than me, and they would retweet it, and it's like, oh, what's this? So and then I wasn't talking about a lot of things that other people were talking about, so I became like, oh, this guy who, hey, you said this the other day. What was that? Um, so for me, I would use Twitter to as like my chalkboard. So if I had like, oh yeah, this is interesting, tweet it and come back to it. Or if I got some ideas, I would just use them, get these ideas out. So what it would do, it would kind of like be a magnet for the right people. I tweeted something one day, and this guy, I mean, he's like he's done some pretty big stuff in like in the culture, but his profile picture was just I don't even remember what it was, some weird something, and I was like, he sent me a message, yo, this is brilliant. We got to meet up and talk. Yo, who are you? Like, what are you doing? Like, what do you want from me? It was weird. And then he's like, oh yeah, man, da da da. So I meet the guy. We met at Bus Boys and Poets. So he goes, yo, that thing you said. And he wanted me to like, I had like an independent thought, right? And he wanted me to like share what book were you reading? What was the look, man, I don't know. I just had an observation and I shared it. And he just thought because he was a super brain, like I don't know what he's talking about, like so it'd be so funny when I do that on Twitter and I attract people who see these things and they just like, you know, uh they think it's something more than it is sometimes. So in that with the Twitter, like when I saw that happening, I said, "Oh, okay. Oh, like that incident kind of made me realize the power with Twitter." So, and that's when it was like, all right, if I can relate to, like, if I don't have to share the things I'm into, that might be a good thing. So if I'm sharing things that you're not aware of or you have interest in, you're going to come back for more.
Mm.
So it's like, all right, cool. Let's, talk about these different topics or whatever. And people just look to me for that. And like that's what I started to use Twitter for. Okay, I can share things. I can build an audience by sharing things that other people need. And then when they get there, I can, if I need to talk about myself, I can do that also. So like that to me, when I saw that happening, I just said, oh, I gotta hit the gas on this. So Twitter was like a cheat code for a lot of things. Like I can't get to Bangladesh. I can meet someone who's in Bangladesh. We can work on things through the computer, which I used to hate. So it's like, but the more I see things coming to fruition, and I had a BlackBerry at the time. Oh God, I miss my BlackBerry. But like, and people knew about it. Like, yo, that guy at the BlackBerry. Like, it was just kind of silly stuff.
Big
But like,
flex.
man, when I had that thing, it was like my brain was working differently. But yeah, I said, I can make a lot of things happen with this. Oh wow, and then when you come into LA, when you gonna be in New York? Never. Like I for what? I have what I need here. So the importance of education in like connecting, Twitter kind of amplified that. Um, and then it was like, or if I tweet something, oh, you mentioned licensing. Like, what are you talking? What is that? Well, let's get in the call. Yo, you said that you can make money with royalties. Let's get in the call. So and then since like I'm very self aware, so if I can notice what my disadvantages are, I can kind of capitalize on those before you do. And because of that, I can look at you, see what your disadvantages are, go get those, make them work for me. So like that's kind of something I would do also. Like, and that's where the education comes in. If if nobody understands what publishing is, or they don't have a good idea of it, I have to now, right? Because I hear a lot of people on podcasts now, and reels, just saying whatever they want about music industry, because no one's going to tell you any different. And the thing about the music industry is everybody in the industry learns from everybody else in the industry. And then everyone is going to tell you, oh, industry's messed up. Like, yo, but you're all learning from each other. No one's going to stop and go, hey, this might not be the way, except for me. Because I'm not in it. Like I tell people, I work in the music business. I don't work it. Like, I'm not in the industry. So I don't have to worry about going to these parties and having these certain group of friends. I have to find a way to do music business. I don't have those relationships to teach me the business, which was a blessing for me. So whenever I read a lot of old articles and just see how things were going, or I'll see somebody, oh, I'm not getting paid for my music. And I'm thinking to myself, well, the report came out. You made $4 million last year. What do you mean I can't pay for the music? Oh, you're not getting paid from the record label, but you're getting paid from your BMI. You're getting your publishing. So it's like, but when someone would say, "Hey, I'm not getting paid for my music," there's no one to tell the audience what that really means. So I start, like I said, I like to observe things. So once I've seen that happen 2 or 3 times, I got to learn what the speak is. So like, it's kind of like a long way to get back to the point, but like the education, connectability, and then just kind of knowing things that need to be known, but people kind of don't care about them. And my whole thing has been like, you got to do the things that you don't want to do with the same passion as what you love to do, right? So if I see everyone going, oh, I don't care about this, I don't care about that, I need to go learn what that thing is. So, because someone's going to need it. And a lot of the music stuff that I do is a lot of the stuff people don't care about, but that's where I can make a difference.
And with that, we'd like to close off this episode. This has been a great opportunity to learn a little bit more about you and your career. We're going to get into the business and a lot more, so stay tuned. It's Why Y'all Working. I'm your co-host, Michael Ogusanya.
I'm Alert J, and thanks, Joe. Appreciate you for coming out this time.
Absolutely, fellas. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right.